Jagex is about to release a new raid to old school RuneScape, which is probably the most hyped event in the game right now. They've made a post on the website stating what is to come in the raid with a few teasers here and there. First being the absolute monstrosity of rewards such as the Shadow of Tomakin combined with the Word of Elidness. This video will showcase everything you need to know about the Tombs of AMASCUT. Raid levels and reward potential is sort of revealed with an extra twist. It has been announced that at certain levels, some rewards are more accessible than others. The image you see on the screen right now will explain what I'm talking about currently. And with the power of Microsoft Paint, I shall demonstrate what Googly Flex did not explain properly. So, raid level 0. The first box to the left showing raid level 0, which is basically, reward potential being 0, which means you're only eligible for the rewards in front of you right now, which are basically the 3 jewels and the threads, also known as entry mode by the way. So if you're not that great at raiding or have 0 experience raiding, this is the best time for you to start learning. If you bump it up to 50 for example, then you'll be eligible for the Lightbearer ring, which still makes the raid easy and the reward worth your time. Normal raid, which is raid level 150, which makes you eligible for a decent chance at the Missouri Armor, Word of Elidness, and the Shadow of Tomakin. And then you have the Impossible raid, which is raid level 300 and plus. So it goes all the way over to 580, and I think that's the only option that we have, up to 580, which basically you'll have a higher chance at earning those uniques, anything stated previously, plus the other items if you have a role at the unique, which will make it more common now. The higher the raid level, by the way, the higher the normal loot is as well. So there is an incentive for people to go for the higher level rewards, and finally a raid without saltpeter and pure essence as a reward. Thank you, Jiggly Jacks, you've done a great job. Now the next section will be about the invocations of what is visible to us. As for the image shown on the screen right now, we have a few icons to work off of because Gigglyglog forgot to include their names as how they sit over here. What is shown right now is that we have 4 different invocations with different difficulty levels for them. Now, the skull will most likely be either one of the 2 possibilities. Be the actual level of scaling to the monsters within the raid, making them hit harder and presumably have different mechanics, or the second possibility is that your team will have a set amount of lives, and if you die within the raid, as Mod Ash says over here, you'll pay a fee as per the cost of the equipment that you are using. It's not the 100k fee at top, for example, or the infinite times that you can do chambers. So this one is definitely more punishing. The stopwatch will most likely indicate the amount of time you need to finish the raid in, much like challenge mode for Chambers of Derek and hard mode Theater of Bob. The weird bowl with arrows pointing downwards will most likely be your own levels being reduced. And to be honest with you, the last icon is pretty weird. I'm gonna assume this is the amount of chest supplies you can have within a raid, meaning you can click on them to disable them, because there's an X through them. I'm also gonna assume the first icon would be just less supplies basically. So it's either you enable the first one and then as you go through the rooms, since you have a boss room and a path, and so on, you would basically have a path where you would get either less supplies if you enable the first option, or basically if you click on the X, it means you get no supplies at all. Okay, now this is going to be off script since I found this last night when I was doing the video, but bear in mind, these are speculations, these are not set in stone, but I do know that Akka in this image is practically praying melee in range. But bear with me, the first image right now in front of you has a moon and a sun icon. So I'm assuming that at some point you're going to have to attack Akka in the 4 quadrants. I'm assuming each time he moves to a quadrant or the time moves towards a certain quadrant, then you're going to have to switch styles. Mainly because, and this is why I'm saying this, is because there are like 4 different hourglasses. And then they're heavily implying that you have to attack him on certain tiles, and if you focus on the bottom right quadrant right here, it's basically a skull. So I'm assuming this is going to be a death sort of mechanics, or a one-shot kind of mechanic, or maybe a heavy damage dealing mechanic, while to the left of it it has a lightning icon, and then on top of it I think that's a diamond, and to the right of it that's a fire strike. So the fire strike I'm assuming is going to be the mage attack. The one at the bottom is going to be where you have to dodge a very lethal attack. The one to the left of it, I think you have to do as much damage as you can before something happens. I cannot tell what it is. And then on top of it, this one is kind of confusing for me. I would say it's probably a healing phase for him. This is only speculation, as I said, so it's not exactly set in stone. But then, as I said, this is where you're gonna probably have a designated tank, much like Verzik, and you're gonna have to swap tanks as you go through. because there is like a specific time where you have to avoid taking damage while tanking for your team, and then swapping tanks mid-fight to avoid taking as much damage as you can while doing as much damage as you can, if that makes sense. Wow, that was a mouthful.